I literally was putting everything that I had on the line for something. People just laughed at me.
I'm going to give you the 3-step process that anybody can follow to see how much risk you should take and how to minimize your downside.
You cannot invent and pioneer if you cannot accept failure.
Rise and shine, it's espresso time.
I wake up every morning. Espresso keep me going. I wake up every morning.
Grab your coffee and sip on today's message from MarK Cuban. Also, if you want to learn how to have more confidence, check out my 254 series. It's free. The link is in the description below.
I've always been passionate. Some people thought, it's more OCD than anything else.
I had a Fiat X19 that had a hole in the floorboard. I mean, you could tell I was living the high life, right? I mean, and I was putting in oil every 60 miles and, working as a bartender at night. What did I have to lose? Right. And so it wasn't like, oh man, I could lose all this. And so, and so it was just like, you just go for it. Now, later on, after I'd had some success and we got back and we started AudioNet, which turned into broadcast.com, the math was different. The equations, the calculus was different. It was like, okay, I'm investing a lot of my saved money into this whole idea of netcasting, right? Or internet broadcasting in early 1995 when people didn't even know what the internet was. That was all risk because I literally was putting everything that I had on the line for something. People just laughed at me and said, wait, audio over the internet. You can turn on the radio. You can turn on the TV. Yeah, but you don't get it. No, that's just dumb, all right? And so being able to overcome all that resistance, because remember back then, A, you had to have a PC. B, you had to know what a modem was and install it. C, you had to know what the internet was, and then you had to download a TCP/IP client that worked over a modem and then connected to a browser that you probably didn't even know what it was or how to download it. And we had to take it on faith that all this was going to grow.
Entrepreneurs don't have to be giant risk takers. Some entrepreneurs have to go all in. It's the only way they can operate. Burn the boats, have no plan B, have no escape, no parachute, all in. One-way trip. It's the only way they operate. But there's tons of successful entrepreneurs who win by building sustained momentum, by taking small, successful risks over and over again, but never putting it all on the line. I love small starts. I love finding ways to get started on tons of different ideas and seeing what sticks and where my heart lies and following those through. But I'll never put in tons of money before putting in the effort and energy to see if I'd love it, to try to get results. So I look at YouTube as an example. It's 10 years of having this channel. It's wild, it's crazy. I started it just as an experiment. I had a successful website. I had 8 people on my team building up this new web business that I was a part of. And I just wanted to try YouTube. I wanted to make visual content. I love learning from successful people. And so I wanted to tell those stories in a visual way. That plus people kept asking me questions. I'd sold my company. And so they asked me questions. Evan, how do I do this? How do I do that? Great. So I would make videos answering questions for people. But I did it all myself, right? Like I got some friends to volunteer to help me make some of my early videos. And then everything was me. I had money. I sold my business. I had a team working on my website. But I was doing this little skunk works project all by myself. Just to go, just make it happen, just to see if I like it, see if I can build some momentum. And so I researched and I edited and I filmed, I did everything. And as it started then to make some money, then I could invest that money back into my business. And then it slowly built up to the point where we're at right now. So that's my process. And I love that way, but you might be MarK Cuban. You might have to go all in. I'm gonna give you the 3-step process that anybody can follow to see how much risk you should take and how to minimize your downside. Step 1 is understand your personality type. Are you like the MarK Cuban? Are you like me? Are you like somebody else? Do you have to go all in? If you have a plan B, will you suffocate? If you had to quit smoking, would you go cold turkey? Or could you use Nicorette? If you wanna start a business, can it work for you to go all in and you have to quit your job and you have to have no way out and you have to throw garbage all over your boss's office, so there's no way back, it's the only way? Or can you start by moonlighting? Can you start by working on the side? Can you start by working on your lunch hour and after hour shifts? Like, can you start? Would you be consistent? So it's understanding your personality type. I think the biggest mistake that people make is they prescribe advice, say this is the only way to do it. It's a personality question. If you need to go all in, then go all in. But if you can do it in these small chunks, going all in will be the worst advice for you. Do it in the small, sustained chunks. Just make sure you keep the momentum. Number 2 is use what I call the 2% difference. The 2% difference is as soon as you get an idea, you take action. Idea to action, idea to action, idea to action right away. You do it. You get an idea, trust that idea comes from somewhere and you do it. Just go off and do it. But it's not going to be perfect. What we normally do is we plan, right? We plan to get to 100%. We have this idea. What's the perfect plan to get it completed 100% done? Don't do that. Because you use all that energy when you're feeling bold and confident into planning. That's silly. You're going to lose because you're going to wake up tomorrow a different person. The energy will be gone. That momentum, that confidence, that boldness will be gone. You use that boldness into action. As soon as you get an idea, you do something, and it won't be perfect. The idea won't be perfectly executed. I had a guy in my Las Vegas event who was his birthday, and so I had him come in and juggle. He said he'd like to juggle soccer balls. Where you try to keep the ball in the air for a certain amount of time. Great. I went to go try to find a soccer ball 15 minutes before my event's going to start. Couldn't find one, but I found the golf ball and I found the stuffed pig. I said, here you go juggle. He tried the golf ball, it was too hard on his knee. He did the pig and he got 7 rounds in the air. Great. Because if he waited to get a soccer ball, it would have never happened. That's the problem. Your plans aren't happening because there's not enough action being taken, because you want it to be perfect. Don't worry about that. Use the 2% difference. As soon as you get an idea, you do something about it ASAP, right now. Take action, knowing that it won't be perfect. And number 3 is invest your time, not your money. At the beginning, put your time in. Especially when you don't have a lot of money. Don't go broke. Don't have to drain all your bank accounts to test something out. Any project, any idea that you have can be started on a smaller scale. I had a woman in my event here in Chicago who wanted to open up a school teaching kids how to do meditation. I said, what are you doing now? I'm a nanny. But to start the school, I need X number of dollars. Like, it's a lot. Like, don't do that. You're gonna make so many mistakes and go bankrupt because you don't know what you're doing yet. If you're a nanny, great. You're already working with kids and parents. Now offer this as an extra service. Say, hey, would you mind if I tried this with your son, with your daughter, with Jill? I think teaching her some meditation might help her in school. I'll do it for free at the beginning just to see. And then you start experimenting with it, see if you love it, see if you have a technique that works, you see if they're getting results in school because of working with you. Now you're not just a nanny, now you're teaching meditation. Now you start getting word of mouth and referrals, you start building up a business, you get known as this person who teaches kids meditation and then they get results in school. You start making more money, more money, more money. Then you can open up maybe something in your basement where kids come over and they practice meditation. You have a class, or you're renting out rooms at the YMCA or local library. And then you work your way up to having your own center. Like, that's the smart way to do it. Because if you take out $1 million loan and bankrupt yourself to make this thing happen, you're gonna actually go bankrupt because you don't know what you're doing yet. And so invest your time, your energy, your heart, your passion, your enthusiasm, but not your money, until you start making money. I hate spending money until I'm making money. Now I've got a really special bonus clip that I think you're gonna enjoy, but before that, question of the day, I wanna know for you, are you the all-in person? Do you have to go all in on something for it to work? Or can you have success by doing an hour a day, 2 hours a day, and being consistent? Let me know, put in the comments below.
You cannot invent and pioneer if you cannot accept failure. To invent, you need to experiment. And if you know in advance that it's going to work, it is not an experiment. And so that's a very important thing. They are inseparable twins, failure and invention. And so you have to be willing to do that. And it's embarrassing to fail. It's always embarrassing to fail. But you have to say, no, that's not how this works. If I said to you, you have a 10% chance with a particular decision, a 10% chance of a 100x return, you should take that bet every time. But you're still going to be wrong 9 out of 10 times, and it's going to feel bad 9 out of 10 times. And with technology, the outcomes, the results can be very long-tailed. The payoff can be very asymmetric, which is why you should do so much experimentation. Everybody knows that if you swing for the fences, you hit more home runs, but you also strike out more. But with the baseball, that analogy doesn't go far enough, because with baseball, no matter how well you connect with the ball, you can only get 4 runs. The success is capped at 4 runs. But in business, every once in a while, you step up to the plate and you hit the ball so hard, you get 1,000 runs. And so when you have that kind of asymmetric payoff, and one at bat can get you 1,000 runs, it encourages you to experiment more. It's the right business decision to experiment more. It's also better for your customers. Customers like the successful experiments.
If you want to know Warren Buffett's one quality that you need to do to perform extremely well, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
It takes 3 qualities essentially to do well, and extremely well actually in this country.